Good morning. My name is Martin Johnson. I'm the CEO of Trans2 Performance. I wanted to take 3 minutes to talk to you this morning about something which is proving incredibly popular and valuable for our customers at the minute, which is the human iceberg experience. And having delivered several workshops around this over the last 6 months, we're getting some clear observations and some clear feedback around why this is proving so valuable. So what is the human iceberg experience? Well, here at Trans2 Performance, we've put a body of research together against what we call the whole human iceberg. So from a personal development perspective, what is it that drives our behaviors, our traits, our characteristics every day? And if you think about traditional learning and development programs, 99.9% of the time we focus on the above the waterline things that people see and hear in us as human beings. So our traits, our behaviors, our characteristics. And if you think about traditional methods such as Myers-Briggs, insights, social styles, they're incredibly valuable tools for uncovering some of our personality styles and our preferences. And we seem to go through this learning and development, and we take a lot of value from it in the sense that we know what color we are, if we're extroverted, introverted, if we're directive, maybe we're amiable, analytical, whatever it may be. And we sort of leave the session feeling quite buzzing about what we've heard, what we've uncovered. It gets people talking. And then what we find here is that very quickly you go back into the workplace or you go back into your environment and you start behaving in a certain way. And the temptation is to say, it's okay, I'm a red, or it's okay, I'm directive. So we tend to sometimes use the analysis from these behavioural tools as a justification for our behaviour rather than as a model or a mechanism to change our behaviour and become more productive. So we looked at this and thought, how can we make a difference to a learning and development program or a learning and development experience that would allow the recipient to have a much deeper understanding of what's driving that behaviour or regulating that behaviour in the first place, and how can we give them practical coping mechanisms to intervene, recognise it happening, intervene and make a change so we can stay productive and be productive. And over the years we've developed the human iceberg. Now what this does is we do focus on the above the waterline behaviours and traits. We still do the testing around our preferences, but we go 2 layers deeper, and the middle layer of the iceberg is what we call core motivators, or as the tool we use in print, we call them unconscious motivators. And what these simply are is from the ages of 1 to 21 years old, through our parental, social and educational exposure, the experiences we have encountered in those early formative years have allowed 1 or 2 key motivators to manifest within us, which we will then spend the rest of our days trying to fulfill and satisfy. And if we do, we will be the best version of ourselves, or as print calls it, the best self. And if we don't, we will be in our counterproductive state, our shadow. So taking the workshop that we deliver down a level already to unconscious motivators allows us to understand and identify what has manifested within us in those formative years that is driving and regulating that behaviour every day. We then take it even further to the layer below, the bottom level of the iceberg, which is sense of purpose. Now, sense of purpose is bandied around a lot in the industry, in the world of psychology, but not many people truly understand what it is. And sense of purpose is simply this. It is the events and the significant anchors that have happened in those formative years, through those 3 exposures, your parental, social and educational, that have allowed or caused those motivators to manifest. So if we can dig right back, and this is quite an intrusive part of the process, but we never do it in a group environment. We can educate and talk about it in a group environment, but sense of purpose really needs to be done one-to-one. But if you can not only understand how we behave on our best given day or our worst given day, and uncover the motivators that are within us that are driving that, but if you can even connect the dots to where the hell that comes from, it is an immensely powerful self-awareness experience. And we call this the human iceberg. And I think what we found over the last 2 years at Trans2 Performance is why it's so popular and why we're delivering these programs into professional sports and the military and all kinds of businesses, from leadership teams down to the direct reports and the wider teams, is because it drives a level of self-awareness like never before. You know, that's the first thing. It drives a deeper level of self-awareness and engages people. And if you think about traditional learning and development programs, the facilitator or the deliverer of that particular program will be trying to challenge or educate the recipients on a certain topic. Whereas with this, we are earning the trust of the recipients first by making it all about them, giving them a really deep understanding of themselves. And then we almost earn the right to challenge and start progressing into some of the models and frameworks going forward. So the first thing I think it does is it drives a level of deep understanding. I think the second thing it does really, really well is it creates a common language between leadership teams and their teams. So when we're talking about triggers and motivators and sense of purpose, when we're talking about best self and shadow, when we're talking about the things that are happening on a daily basis that will allow somebody to be productive or not, as the case may be, it creates a common language and a common understanding through the spine of an organisation. And I guess the final point I would say on this, in terms of the human iceberg experience and why I think it is more valuable than the majority of personal development programs out there, is because we are absolutely now tipping the balance where we are driving long-lasting change after the program is delivered, rather than short-term value. People leave motivated, 2 days back in the workplace, something happens or triggers them and they revert to type. We're absolutely avoiding that rebound effect by going to a place of deep meaning, uncovering what's driving that behaviour in the first place, looking at the triggers that will set them off into counterproductive behaviours and in a counterproductive state. And we are workshopping coping mechanisms for people to recognise it happening, intervene, and take a different route. And I think that fundamentally for me is the long-lasting effect of the human iceberg experience, and where we can really bring leadership teams and their direct reports and their teams together. We can get them collaborating, understanding each other more, and recognising when they may or may not be about to trigger one another or cause a productive or counterproductive reaction. Not only that, but we pride ourselves on delivering a really fun, effective, inspiring, and motivational day. So it's been a bit of a revelation for us. We're refining it all the time. We're bringing more neuroscience and more research finding into the program. But what we have already at this early stage is a really deep, meaningful, and inspiring experience for anybody within an organisation to get a grip on true self-awareness and to stand the best possible chance of staying productive moving forward. So yeah, I think that was more like 8 minutes than 3 minutes, but hopefully that's captured what we're doing, what we're experiencing, and yeah, let us know if it's of interest to you. Thanks.